What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Keep It on the DL. We got to get this out to you before we have the games this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. But first, Devin, our breaking news, it finally happened. DJ LeMahieu has signed to be a New York Yankee for the next 6 years. More years than anyone thought. The Yankees were kind of around 4. DJ wanted 5. But the value is there at only $15 million per year. So instead of 5 for $100, they go 6 over 6 years, $90 million, so $90 million over 6. And much needed signing for the Yankees. They had to do something.
Yeah, and before I go in depth, I just want to say this news came out at about maybe 11:15, 11:30 this morning. And about 5-10 minutes after I was reading the news, I called my co-host, and my co-host neglected to answer the phone. So, just goes to show how dedicated he is.
Did I not text you right away?
Biggest news. You text me back 5 minutes later. I'm going to give you shit for that.
I didn't ignore your call. I was asleep, but I said I actually texted you. This was worth waking me up for. It was worth it. Was worth it.
All right, fine. I forgot. I forgot you said that.
If that was a butt dial,
yeah,
I would have got a new co-host.
Why?
No, not in the morning like that.
You're number one.
Don't wake me up.
But anyway, I mean, this is arguably the most anticipated move of any Yankee offseason in a very, very long time. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Last year with Cole.
Well, maybe you think?
This Cole was bigger than this.
There was still speculation that he was going to move.
There was that. You know what? I was down in the dumps with my faith in the Yankees signing DJ. Once he said to start exploring other offers, that this stuff was getting to him, I was like, it's either happening tomorrow, and then it didn't happen that day, and I'm like, I really think he's gone. But it's a relief that they held on to him.
But you know what? I think I wasn't worried at all. I really was not worried at all, and I'll tell you why. Because all these teams, you haven't seen a major signing. This is really the first major signing of the offseason. You know, I'm not going to count the Lindor trade because that's a trade.
Hendricks was a big signing. He was probably the best free agent out there, reliever-wise.
Hendricks was big too, of course, reliever-wise, exactly. But a lot of these teams don't know what the heck is going on financially. So everyone's really in the same boat, even the New York Yankees. So to fault them for really playing this out, I don't blame them. I think obviously there was a mutual interest. They both wanted to reunite, and Cashman got it done. Initially, when I saw 6 years, I was like, wow. But then 2 minutes later, I did the math, and I saw that it's a $15 million a year contract, and obviously that's a bargain and a half. You know, even over 6 years. I mean, DJ LeMahieu, I believe he's 32 right now, Lou?
Yes, we'll have him through his
38th
season.
So through his 38th season,
Age 38, yeah.
In baseball is different than any other sport in that you have chumps getting paid $10 million. You know? It's not going to be out of the ordinary for a 38-year-old to be getting paid $15 million a year. And there's no sign of DJ even slowing up. And the Yankees are in a win-now mode. The Yankees should always be in a win-now mode. But even more so now, they've been so close over the past 3-4 years of finally getting over the hump and achieving a World Series and getting there. They needed to make this contract happen. And the Yankees needed LeMahieu, and I honestly think that the Yankees needed LeMahieu more than LeMahieu needed the Yankees. And this was a perfect example of meeting in the middle. LeMahieu wanted the 5th year. We've been hearing back and forth that LeMahieu wanted the 5th year, but the Yanks didn't want to go beyond 4. The Yanks gave him 6, but only gave him a $15 million a year cap hit. I know there's no cap, but for lack of a better term. So I'm very pleased. I'm pumped, but I think this means that the Arenado dream is out the window now.
Maybe. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like I said, that would be a trade and not much to do with money. But yes, they would be taking on Arenado's contract to some capacity. But we'll see what they do there. But that was the other brings me to now almost what's next for the Yankees. So they get DJ. Now, I mean, what's next for them? Do they go right to signing maybe a Corey Kluber, who they've been linked to, on maybe a 1-year deal. They go out and get a relief pitcher now because they need some kind of pitching. So they really need to go get a pitcher. And I mean, they have another spot for maybe a Michael Brantley, another big free agent out there in left field, because Clint is out there. They signed Greg Allen. I think he's going to be the backup center fielder to Hicks if anything happens to Hicks. But they might need another outfielder there. Talking a trade piece. They are definitely going to have at least 2 more moves up their sleeve here this offseason before they get going. So quick, any idea of what's next for them?
I don't. It's obviously going to be an arm. I have a feeling that we are going to get Kluber, but like you texted me today, Lou, I saw it later in the day, but a lot of question marks with Tanaka too. I really believe it's either the Yankees or Japan. I don't know. I think it's Kluber or Tanaka. I don't think you're going to have both of them. Yeah,
Paxton's still out there too.
Paxton too.
If these guys can't find deals and you can bring, Paxton or Tanaka back on a deal that's around $8 million a year, I mean, you got to jump on it. You got a 2-year 18, 2-year $19 million deal. I mean, come on. The windows for championships do not come often, and the Yankees window started in 2017. I feel like they got another 3 years here to go out and win a couple, and you can't be cheap right now. You've got to go get the pieces that'll go out and make a championship team. So if they don't get a pitcher now, they're going to do something at the trade deadline big, because they need to evaluate where they are. See these young studs. I saw a quote from Clark Schmidt saying he's never been more eager to start the season and he wants to contribute big time to this Yankees team. So if Clark Schmidt or Devi Garcia can solidify a spot as a solid postseason option as a number 2 or 3 starter, then you get Severino back later on in the year, and you can roll into the postseason with that. But if Garcia, Schmidt, Loizaga, Montgomery, Herman are just mediocre and struggling, I think you got to try to sell one of those guys and bring in a proven pitcher. So the Yankees have their work cut out for them in their starting pitching and bullpen, but they're moving in the right direction with this LeMahieu signing. Now, another signing we talked about, Liam Hendriks, Australian, 3-year, $54 million deal for a relief pitcher. Makes him the highest relief paid pitcher in the game, going to the White Sox, who, Dev, are second as the favorite to come out of the AL this year.
It's amazing, huh? How about that quick
really
turnaround over the past year and a half or so? 2 years.
I mean, they went out, they got Keuchel for cheap. They had their prospects in Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert. Moncada's coming around. Tim Anderson turned out to be a star. Jose Abreu is playing at an MVP level. Their right fielder was Mazzara. He didn't have a great season, but I mean, he was still a great player. And they got a lot of good things going for them. Giolito threw the no-hitter last year. I mean, this White Sox team, now getting that bullpen piece in Hendricks, This could be a 95 to 100 win team easy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the White Sox have just been pushing all the right buttons over the past year or two. Starting with the Keuchel signing, and don't forget they have Tony La Russa too. So they have a very, very experienced manager at the helm. Really, one of the best in baseball history.
And Renteria really didn't deserve to go there either. They've had they're getting another good manager. I feel like, I don't know if he's done with the game, but he can end up somewhere later on, down the road.
I mean, we said from the get-go that was a weird...
It was. He was a manager of the year candidate.
Yeah, they made the playoffs. It was very weird. And don't forget, they have Jose Abreu too. The AL MVP. So, a lot to look forward to on the south side there. And the Cubs are going the other direction, I think. I've been seeing a lot about them trying to move Chris Bryant. I don't know how sure of a thing that is, but I mean, the AL is going to start getting very competitive here, so that's why it's imperative for the Yanks to start making these moves. The White Sox are going to be competitive. I think the Angels are going to find a way to start getting better. Obviously, you have the Rays. You have all these teams, and it's going to be that much harder to get to the big-time show.
Yep. But they're moving in the right direction. But $54 million over 3 years is a lot for a closer. And for the White Sox, it might tie them up with signing, a free agent or two that they might need for a stretch run. It's a lot of money. Couple other signings here. Schwarber on a 1-year deal with the Nats. 1-year, $10 million deal. So the Nats, I feel like we forgot they traded for Josh Bell. Josh Bell is a Washington National. So they got him and Schwarber. They're getting some power from the left side in that lineup. This is not a team that is, I would say, a World Series threat, a World Series contender. But right there, they're a playoff contender. They could be a threat to win the NL East. They really could. Strasburg and Scherzer. You have those. Anytime you have those two guys at the top of your rotation, you're adding Schwarber and Josh Bell to your lineup. Trey Turner is a stud. I think Trey Turner is one of the most underrated shortstops in baseball. He can hit for power and steal 80 bases if he wanted to in a season. So the Nationals, I think they let go of Adam Eaton, but they have a few pieces. They're an intriguing team. They really are. They intrigue me this year. I would be interested to see what they end up as.
Yeah, the NL East is going to be really good. And don't forget, the Marlins made the playoffs. There was a lot of positives there. The Mets, you still
this
have
is
the
the best the
Phillies and
NL
Braves.
East has been in a long time.
Long time. Very, very
really
good point.
Especially if the Phillies re-sign Real Muto, because they really need him. I mean, that's the biggest free agent this offseason, and he's still unsigned here.
Right. That's what it's looking like, too. That's what it's looking like. I haven't really seen him connected to anybody else except the Phillies. I mean, obviously the Mets a while ago, but not anymore. So, like you said, Lou, very good point. This is going to be the best NL East we've seen in a long time. Long time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what team there. I mean, maybe the Marlins finish under 500. What team do you see? You go, they're not finishing 500 or better.
Boy, I don't know. I guess the easy.
That's not a bet I'm willing to make.
No, I'm not taking that at all.
I'm really thinking about it. I don't know. The Marlins are up and coming, but they made the playoffs in a 60-game stretch. Maybe they caught lightning at the right time, and that lightning flashes, and maybe they finish under 500. I'd still probably pick the Marlins to finish under 500, but they're good. They have some young players there. They do have some young studs, and if they can live up to their potential and play well, they could be over 500. So that NL East is something to watch this year. And Jose Martinez just went to the Mets. So if they implement the DH, Jose Martinez is a great candidate there for the Mets. I don't see him playing the field or anywhere, just strictly maybe a pinch hitter off the bench. But like I said, if they get the DH there, Jose Martinez and Dom Smith can platoon that position pretty well.
Yeah, obviously the Mets are going to be very improved. I'm excited to see them play this year. I'm excited to see Lindor in New York for sure. That's going to be a great division. It might even be better than the AL East, to be honest with you.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, the Orioles stink. The Red Sox stink. The Blue Jays are definitely up and coming. They want to make a signing bad. They're trying to get somebody here. So we'll see what the Blue Jays end up doing. But, yeah, I mean, the Red Sox and Orioles they're on the Marlins level, the Red Sox. I don't think they're any better than the Marlins. I really don't. Their rotation is atrocious.
Well,
they got no one that can pitch.
They're trying to get rid of Benintendi, which I thought was very weird. That's a guy you build around.
He had an awful season. But yeah, I definitely think the NL East is better than the AL East this year, 100%. The Rays are declining as well. But we got a lot to get to today, so let's finish up the baseball talk here. Theo Epstein is going to be an MLB consultant, so it's good to have a familiar face, consulting with the MLB. So that's good for Theo and for baseball.
Yeah, and he's just been climbing up the ladder, ever since he really came into his own, obviously building that Red Sox roster back in 2004 to erase the curse. He's someone, Lou, that, at least for me, I've always found him so fascinating in the game of baseball. He to me, I would love to just sit down with him and just talk to him.
Pick his mind. He was one of the big proponents behind the three-batter rule as well, apparently.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's unbelievable. I would love to just pick his brain, just talk to him, and he's such a revolutionary for the game of baseball. And you see this with a lot of top-end executives or even managers. They kind of graduate from the game and move to the quote-unquote corporate side of things. Obviously Joe Torre being a notable one as well. So good for Theo. I'm interested to see what he's going to do for the game.
Yep. Well, that'll wrap up our baseball talk. Now you got the other breaking news. We have James Harden going to the Brooklyn Nets. Now the deal entails 4 first-round picks going to Houston, Dante Exum, and LeVert going to Houston, with Jarrett Allen and Tajon Prince go to the Cavs, and then the Rockets flip LeVert for Oladipo from the Pacers. So a lot of moving parts in this trade, but the main one, James Harden's going to be a net with Kyrie Irving, who we have that drama of him not showing up, and now he's been suspended 5 games and fined $50K. He's not allowed to play 5 days from now. He has to quarantine for another 5 days before he comes back to the court. So you have Harden, Kyrie, Durant. Harden and KD know each other from OKC, but you're going to have a lot of egos on this team, big time. I'm not sure if I like this trade for the Nets.
I don't know, man. I mean, again, I am not a huge basketball fan by any means. I'm a sports fan, so I follow everything. So I'm not going to sound too educated, but if I were to think of 5 big personalities in the NBA, these 3 might be in my top 5. I've always hated KD. From the moment with the whole whatchamacallit, the burner account. Not once but twice. And then Kyrie doing whatever the hell he's doing, always. Complaining about getting out of Cleveland and going to Boston, and forcing his way out of Boston and going to Brooklyn. And then obviously you have Harden, who is the ultimate ball hog. The guy he's a great scorer, but, I mean, he just out of the blue saying, yeah, hey, Houston, I want to get the hell out of here, and literally quitting on his teammates. So then you see Boogie and John Wall saying, essentially, dude, don't come back in the locker room. No one else is having a problem except yourself, so just leave and do whatever you got to do. And the Rockets told him not to come to practice earlier this week and shipped him up to Brooklyn. But I'm sure, Lou, you're going to talk about this too. I don't know how this is going to work, man. I mean, KD is arguably the purest scorer in the history of the NBA. Kyrie is a facilitator, but he could score as well. And Harden needs a ball in his hands. I mean, that's his game. He's not a pick and roll type of guy. He's not going to be dishing out to KD for threes in the corner. I mean, this is obviously a win now move for the Nets, and LeVert and Allen are 2 very big fan favorites for the Nets. And the price of trading those guys away is getting a superstar.
Huge favorites. I mean, you said it there, Allen, LeVert. I mean, the Nets love these 2 guys. They're huge assets. They're great role players. They fit in that offense perfectly. Jarrett Allen's such a great force rebounding the basketball. LeVert can be that secondary scorer. I mean, crazy trade. I didn't see it happening, and I don't know if you've been on the internet, Dev, but James Harden, I mean, put on, forget the freshman 15. He did the quarantine 40. This guy is fat. I don't know how good a shape that this guy is into. Can he play 4 quarters? Is you going to play him like 5 minutes a quarter because that's all his heart can take right now? I don't know.
I mean,
but the dude is fat.
Yeah, he's bad, man. He's bad. And again, I always compare everything to hockey, but you would never see hockey players act like this. Even baseball players, even football players. For some reason, basketball players are the ultimate. I know wide receivers are the ultimate divas, man. But the fact that you come out as if he is making it known beyond belief that he didn't want to be in Houston, not coming up to camp in shape and coming to late to practice. I think he was doing that too, and saying everything after the game, that it's irreputable, his relationship with the Rockets. I mean, come on, dude. But you get away with it for some reason, and now he's going to get what he wants, and whether or not he performs remains to be seen. But this is the Nets' conference to win. You don't make a deal like this for a guy of his caliber and expect just to get out of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. I mean, you better win the conference.
He's coming into this season looking like Mac and Always Sunny coming into season 9 of his show there when he put on all that weight. Not sure if it was season 9, but one of those seasons.
He's looking a little chunky.
He is, and we'll see how the Nets do. We'll see how they do. I mean, it's not like Kyrie and KD and that whole team has been playing together for so long and so on. It's going to mess up the mojo. They're just going to need to learn how to play with Harden. And the last-second shots on the line, I mean, you just got to go with the player with the best matchup at that point. Whether it's Kyrie or whether it's Harden or KD, you just got to take the guy who can't defend the best and give that person the ball. I think that's going to be the offense. Where's the mismatch? Get the mismatch to the ball and let them go. I really think that that's the offense for the Nets right now. But maybe we'll get a Nets person on next week, discuss what they think of the trade, if they liked it, if they hated it. But for right now, I'm very skeptical of it. And to finish up our NBA here, the Nets are still in a better spot than the Knicks are. The Knicks had a great 10-game season. That was exciting, and they suck again. So that went from high hopes to rock bottom there for the Knicks. Everyone's just upset again.
Yep, old Knicks fans are like, right, I forgot. This is really how we're supposed to feel.
Good season, yeah. Good season. Hopefully they can get going again. Hopefully Tibbs gets them playing defense again and so on. But definitely still early. Speaking of early, opening night of hockey was 2 nights ago, the 13th. But Rangers and Devils opened up last night. Tough opener for the Rangers, not getting a goal. Shesterkin does not look good at all. He got beat high. He got beat low. Personally, I think he's one of the most hyped, overrated goaltenders I've ever seen. I don't know what they see in this guy, him being so great. I don't see it. I'd rather have Spencer Knight in a heartbeat. I don't know what they see in Shesterkin. Besides, I saw if he didn't have one save in the first period. They were down 3-0. In the first half, I believe, or maybe it was 2-0 in the first first period. Just couldn't get much going, but I think it's going to take a while. They're a young team; they had no preseason, but that offense will get clicking sooner rather than later. So I'm going to give it a couple weeks, but I am not encouraged by Igor at all. Maybe you can help me out.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to watch much of the Ranger game, to be honest with you, because I was too keyed on the Devs last night, and I actually went on the ice myself later in the night, so I kind of missed the second and third of the games. But just like with every other sport, the first game, especially after a long layoff, you're going to overanalyze everything. And
why can Varlamov get a shutout then? It's like it rubs me the wrong way, watching how Igor played.
It absolutely should. It should rub a lot of Ranger fans the wrong way, because it's not like, okay, we lost 3-1 and we look good in the defensive zone and our breakouts look good and everything else. I mean, they didn't even put a puck in the back of the net. And that's supposed to be a team that's going to be a great scoring team with Lafreniere coming into the fold and maybe Capo coming into his own, and of course you have Panarin, who's saying, I'm going to be even better than I was last year, who was a Hart Trophy candidate. So I wouldn't be concerned if I was a Ranger fan. It also doesn't help that you got shut out and lost by 4 goals on opening night after a long layoff against the Islanders of all teams. So I think there's a lot of emotions that are really playing into this. If you're a Ranger fan, I wouldn't be too worried. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Honestly, I think that last spot is either going to go to the Isles or the Penguins. But if this was a normal season, I think that they would really be vying for one of those wild card spots. But my feelings towards the season, really, and the same's going to be applying to the Devils. I'm very excited to see these guys. This can apply for the Rangers as well. these young guys getting real meaningful NHL time in a shortened season. I'm not going to put the whole asterisk thing and say that, but I mean, it's a shortened season, and a weird season at that. So this is really just going to be a rebuilding year. Get your feet wet, get this experience, and that's what you should be looking forward to as a Ranger fan. And, I mean, the Rangers are going to be competitive. There's no doubt about that. So it's going to be a very exciting year for the New York Rangers.
I hope you're right. I'm definitely encouraged, by the, want to be encouraged and excited by the offense and so on and so forth. But the Devils did have there was going to be their backup goalie in Corey Crawford, an abrupt retirement there for the Devils on their end.
Yeah, obviously very sad. I don't know what's going on, and I hope everything is okay with Corey Crawford and his family and whatever he's got going on. But he abruptly retired. It was a great signing. I was excited to see him as a Devil. But it's really not the worst case scenario. It puts the Devils in a bind, obviously, trying to find a quality backup goaltender. Right now, it's veteran Scott Wedgwood, who has throughout his career been up and down between the NHL and the AHL, and he started his career with the Devils. But I mean, there's no question that this is Mackenzie Blackwood's team, and the first thing I thought of with Crawford not going down, but retiring is that, man, this is all Mac now. He's going to have the weight on his shoulders. He's almost going to be like Marty, playing 80-85% of the games. And, I mean, my man was lights out last night. He looks awesome. And the progression of him just over the past 2 years, he's really built upon so much. He's really grown into himself. He's a big body. He's 6'5" in the net. And he's a great butterfly goaltender. I love what I see from him. And he faced 16 shots in the first period from the Boston Bruins, who are definitely a cup contender, let alone they won the President's Trophy last year. And he looked phenomenal. And that's all you can ask for as a Devil fan. I'm really excited to see him grow into his own and really perform at a high level. And I think that's what we're going to see out of him. So Mackenzie Blackwood, even though the Devs did lose 3-2 last night in a shootout, so they got a point, I was very happy. But, I mean, you just got to try to keep him healthy. Goaltenders, I mean, they tend to get injured, obviously with a lot of work, and that's why it was going to be nice for Crawford. He was an experienced veteran, could have taught Blackwood some stuff and split the games 50-50, but not going to happen. It's not the worst case scenario, but again, Crawford, a very established goaltender, a 3-time Cup winner for the Hawks. And weird to see his career end this way, but obviously some things are bigger than hockey.
Yes, indeed. So that'll wrap up hockey. We're moving on to our national championship reaction here. Ohio State and Justin Fields take a big loss. 24-52 final. The over did hit by 1 point, but Ohio State could not stop that Alabama offense. That Alabama offense was insanely good. I mean, you just saw Devontae Smith 215 yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half. I mean, the guy's on pace for 430 yards and 6 touchdowns in a national championship game. I mean, come on. That is crazy absurd. They just totally dominated Ohio State. And I think that, this Justin Fields hype at Clemson. Clemson had a horrible defense. Clemson's defense wasn't good. Fields needed to play like that. You saw Fields struggle against, I believe it was Indiana. He struggled big time against Northwestern, and then he struggled again against Alabama as well. And, I mean, Alabama had maybe one of the best offenses that we've seen in college football history. I mean, them and LSU, I would rather see this team versus LSU last year. That'd be a great freaking game.
Yeah, that would be an absolute hell of a game. And to me, Lou, I mean, again, with COVID, everything's been so out of sorts. Sports don't feel the same, and a lot of things tend to get overlooked. And I think this Alabama offense this year is a perfect example. I mean, this was a loaded offense. Mac Jones, I think he's going to be a very serviceable quarterback in the NFL. Reminds me a lot of McElroy back in the day, to be honest with you. Another fellow Crimson Tide quarterback. But Devonta Smith, man, damn. I mean, he's unbelievable. And he made that Buckeye defense look like Swiss cheese. It was nuts. I couldn't believe what he did in the first half. As far as Fields goes, I was disappointed as a Jet fan. I have always said I ultimately
I think everyone can be out on Fields now.
Yeah, and everyone's trying to make excuses saying, oh, he had cracked ribs. You know, he throws ducks, man. His ball doesn't look good. Again, I'm not a scout, but the ball coming out of his hands, throwing outside the numbers, I just don't see how it translates to the NFL so well. And he did not look good in the national championship game, like you said. Clemson does not have the best defense in the world. Anyway, even though he did shred them. So, I just think that this makes the Jets' decision that much harder. So, but we'll see. I mean, Ohio State's going to be in the national championship again, hopefully, next year. I believe they're second behind Bama as far as the odds go. But to me, it was a boring game, even though it was high scoring. I mean, except for the first quarter. I mean, it was all Bama, man. All Bama.
It really was all Bama almost the whole time there. They really could not do much, Ohio State. You know, they fell behind quickly, and they just could not recover whatsoever. And now, new offensive coordinator for Alabama will be Bill O'Brien, ex-Houston Texan coach, getting the offensive coordinator job with Nick Saban at Alabama. I'm not too sure what I think of this. We'll see what he we'll see how he does. But Sarkisian obviously getting that head coaching job at Texas, and leaving his job there at Alabama, only to be filled by Bill O'Brien. So Bill O'Brien going to be working along Nick Saban. Ted, Bill O'Brien in Alabama, I mean, is he going to coach in the NFL again, or what's up with him?
You know, that's a good question. Obviously, he knows the college game going back to his Penn State days. So you see this a lot with coaches. I mean, Chip Kelly is a perfect example. You see these guys, they're head coaches, and they do so great in college, and then like, all right, let's see if we can make the step to the NFL. And for whatever reason, some college coaches just don't have success in the NFL. I guess it's just a completely different ballgame. Nick Saban is a perfect example, too. You know, obviously he's a great, great college coach. Then coached the Dolphins, and that was a blunder. And I hope Urban Meyer is not the same way, because I happen to really like him. But I think this is good. I think he'll be comfortable down in Bama. Obviously, what Saban is going to help in an established program like Bama. And obviously, it wasn't too long for him to find another job in the game of football. So, I mean, Bama's going to be good no matter who they have. I could be the offensive coordinator. You especially could be the offensive coordinator, and they would have no problem. But, yeah, I think that's it.
But I think that, you know, O'Brien can come back in the NFL. He just has to stay far, far away from the front offices. Just let him do the product that they give him. Don't let him try to go out and do trades and free agency and things like that. Keep him far away from that, and maybe he can get back into the NFL.
Yes.
Because, I mean, even in the draft, remember we saw him freak out at the table?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So keep this guy away from front office stuff. Make him an offensive coordinator in the NFL. That's the only way I really see him getting back into it, because made some definite questionable decisions. So we're gonna run through this quickly. We're gonna name you everyone that has been fired or hired around the NFL, and we're gonna end with the Jets so you can give your take on it. So first, the Jags get ex-Ohio State coach Urban Meyer. Going to be coaching Trevor Lawrence there. going to be a very exciting job. That was probably one of the number one jobs out there because of you were going to get Trevor Lawrence. So Urban Meyer, Trevor Lawrence uniting in Jacksonville. See how that ends up. We got Dan Quinn coaching Dallas's defensive coordinator spot. So Quinn fired from the Falcons, goes and beats the DC of Dallas. Eagles let go of Doug Peterson, Super Bowl winning coach for them. The Eagles really had nothing until he came. And they're in some trouble now, Philly. They really are. Are they going to strip this all down, trade everybody, or what are they going to do? I don't know. They fired Doug Peterson. We'll see who they come in to hire him. Chuck Pagano retired, so he will no longer be coaching. He beat cancer and illness, and best of retirements to Chuck. Seattle was fired. Seattle fired their offensive coordinator Schottenheimer, probably because he would stop letting Russ cook late in the season. Russ was crushing it the first 7 games, and then he came in, tried to start running the ball again, so on and so forth. We'll see what Seattle wants to do, but they have come out and said that they want a strong run game and they want to be a run-first team. So we'll see how Seattle goes. And Arthur Smith of the Tennessee Titans offensive coordinator got the job offered from the Falcons. So the Falcons, he's got the head coaching job of the Falcons if he wants it. Questionable that the Falcons are bringing in an offensive coach when I feel like they could use a defensive guy in there, because those defensive guys and giving up leads and so on and so forth, their offense doesn't seem to be the problem. It always seems like their defense. So Arthur Smith, offensive coordinator, Tennessee, has the Falcons job if he wants it. So, Dev, give me your reaction to any of those, some of those, whatever you're feeling.
Yeah, real quick, I think Urban Meyer is going to do well in the NFL. I'm really anxious to see how he does. I just think he's a great coach all around and really knows how to build a program and a culture. He's had success legitimately everywhere he goes. But again, so did Nick Saban, and like I just said, sometimes it just doesn't translate to the NFL for some reason. It's very weird. I've never been able to put my finger on it. So we'll see. I think Dan Quinn getting the head coaching, or not the head coaching job, the DC job out in Dallas is great. I believe he was the DC for the Seahawks before he got the job in Atlanta. So those are where his roots are. And Doug Peterson, obviously he was not on hot seat coming into the season, but just one game. It's all it takes, man. Just that one game, how he handled the whole situation and how he handled the Wentz and Hurts situation certainly does not help at all. But he'll get another job somewhere. Like you said, he's got a Super Bowl win on his resume, and that goes a long, long way.
Definitely does. And someone that has, I guess, a Super Bowl appearance, the Jets went and got in, I'm forgetting the first name, Saleh. Robert Saleh goes to the Jets, a football guy, kind of reminds me of a similar Joe Judge hire, no-nonsense guy, flipping that culture around for the Jets. And the defense, you see Quillen Williams already come out and be excited about it. You've seen other players say the Jets got a great one. So the Jets fans should be pretty darn excited about this hire.
And they should be. I know I'm definitely stoked, and I haven't seen one negative thing from Jets Twitter ever since this morning about the hire. I mean, everything, even before they officially hired him today, he was at the top of pretty much every Jets fan's list that was following the coaching vacancy. He just seems like the type of coach every team wants to hire. He's a football guy's guy. He's got this intensity. He's smart. His players love him. Richard Sherman, even during the season, was raving about him. And even when he got hired today, was raving about him too. And I was reading a bunch of quotes from him. He seems like a great guy. To be honest with you, he just seems like a great guy. And the first thing I thought of, Lou, was that it's very similar to a Joe Judge. And the Jets really have not had anything like this since Rex Ryan. And this is what they need. They need a culture change. Joe Douglas clearly got the number one guy at the top of his list, and now they can go from here. I'm just really excited to see what Joe Douglas can do. I've been his number one advocate. If he goes down, I'm going to go down, especially in one of my fantasy football groups. I've been raving about him because I really believe that he knows what he's doing, and he's a great football mind. So this is really the start of the Joe Douglas regime in Florham Park for the Jets. And I'm really excited. I think this is a great start. The Jamal Adams trade is a great start. And I'm going to echo this again. If they're not going to keep Sam Darnold, which I think they're eventually going to do, they got to give the house for Deshaun Watson. I just don't know how you don't do it. I don't know how you don't do that if you're Joe Judge. I don't think it happens, and it's going to bewilder me, but I'll take it as it is. And I think if they do keep Sam, especially hiring a defensive-minded coach, he might want to keep Sam Darnold and maybe build from the front, from the line up again. We'll see. And this is going to be a long 3 months for Jets fans because I'm anxious to see what they do in the number one pick now. I don't know how I'm going to wait till April. But I'm really stoked. I'm glad they finally have a head coach that everyone can be excited about. Bowles was kind of Obviously, Gase, I'm not even going to touch upon that. Salah, everyone's pumped about it, and as we should be. As we should be. You have anything to say, Lil?
Yeah. No, you pretty much summed it up. I mean, the big thing is the quarterback issue. Who's he going to bring to be his OC? Is he going to run the defense, or is he going to bring in a defensive guy? Because obviously Greg Williams there is gone. I think he's very capable of running the defense if he wants to, but he's definitely going to need an offensive guy in there. Not sure who it's going to be, and Sam Darnold's still the question mark there because I don't think he's of the stature to say that Darnold's his guy yet. I think he needs to sit down, meet with him, so on and so forth, to really get a gauge on who he wants to be quarterback. And as we saw with Joe Judge when he first got hired, he basically said everyone's going to need to earn their spot. There's no spots that are guaranteed right now. Like, he wouldn't even say that Saquon Barkley is the running back for the Giants. He said we're going to go with the best player that we think will do the job. So on and so forth. And I think that's going to be the same thing for the Jets. And we'll see if that's Sam. But Jet fans need to see who's going to be the offensive coordinator of that team, in my opinion.
Apparently it's going to be one of the LaFleur brothers. I forget his name.
Was it Peter LaFleur or the Average Joes?
Yes, that's exactly who it was, a.k.a. Vince Vaughn.
He learned from Patches. Great guy to learn from.
Oh, yeah, great guy to learn from.
But, yeah, I mean, I think it was Mark. Mark and a Matt. Matt LaFleur is the coach of the...
Matt.
He's already the coach. I think his brother is Mark. LaFleur is the coach of... Matt LaFleur is the coach of the... Packers.
So it's the other one. So it's the Niners. Let me see. 49ers, offensive. It's LaFleur. Which one? Oh, my God. Oh, Mike LaFleur.
Mike. There's a Mike. So Matt LaFleur is the coach of the Packers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Mike. Brother. It wasn't Mark. It was Mike.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously LaFleur can run an offense, so the Jets can go grab him. I mean, their offense looks to be in better shape than the Giants right now. And Jason Garrett being named one of the final candidates for the Chargers, so Giants fans are really hoping he gets that job, and it opens up opportunities for an offensive job with Big Blue. So, finally caught up on everything. Now we can finally get to playoff football. Devontae Freeman was signed by the Bills this week after Zach Moss looks to be out for the remainder of the postseason. So Singletary and Devontae Freeman, ex-Giant Falcon running back. So a lot of stuff happened last week. To go over it, Dev, you're lost by a half point. 27-24 Indy Buffalo, 51 points. You had 51.5. Your lock was the Saints. They went on to win. My best bet was Saints minus 9.5. That hit. And my lock was My lock was no need for the extra stuff when the game's over. And my lock was Pitt, and they had an atrocious game. I mean, they just couldn't come back from the hole they were in. If they don't think themselves in that hole, they win no problem. But 4 interceptions from Ben, 2 huge fumbles, I think, for this, just awful. Very disappointing game there for Pittsburgh. Harsh way to go out. We'll see if that was Big Ben's final game as a Steeler. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. But this week, Dev, I'm going with the Bills minus 2.5 against the Ravens. There's a chance. I think there's a 24% chance of snow. I think if it snows at all, the Bills are going to win. And I just like the Bills to win up in Buffalo. They got the Bills Mafia behind them right now. Josh Allen's playing at a Pro Bowl and beyond level. I just think that Lamar Jackson still, I mean, what was that final score of that Tennessee game? 2017?
Yeah, I think it was 2017, yeah.
I mean, 20 points is not going to cut it against this Bills team. He's going to need to come in there and put up over 24 at least to put up over 24. The Bills are going to score, and I think that it's going to be very hard for Jackson to throw in this game. The Bills have a pretty darn good secondary. So I like the Bills minus 2.5, and my team that can't lose this week, the Green Bay Packers. 1 seed. Donald's a little banged up. I just think that Green Bay, at home in Lambeau, the Packers are going to take care of business. They're going to take care of business at home.
Yeah, I think so too. Just a matter of how much. I don't know if they're going to cover, because somehow the Rams pulled that game out in Seattle. So it's oh wait, Lou, I don't know if you not what am I trying to say? Not to stop abruptly, but Arthur Smith just reached a deal to become the Falcons head coach.
Okay, there you go. So Arthur Smith is the head coach of the Falcons. Wonder who they'll bring in for the defense there. But
he is, yes. But
Arthur
anyway,
Smith confirmed.
Yeah, Arthur Smith confirmed as of 25 minutes ago. But yeah, I think the best game of the week is going to be that Baltimore-Buffalo game. That's going to be a great game. Like I said, the Ravens are playing great football. Had a good game last week. And if it snows, Lou, I think that benefits the Ravens just because of how run-heavy they are. They have, that option is going to be lethal with Dobbins and Jackson. And I can't wait to see how it's going to look all next season. But my lock this week, the Chiefs are not going to lose at home, especially coming off a bye. I just don't believe so. They're going to be in the Super Bowl again, and I think they're going to do it pretty handily. The spread's 10.5. A double-digit spread, obviously, in a playoff game is a lot. But the bet I like also, as far as the spread, what are we calling it, Lou? It can never click in my head.
Your best bet.
Best bet. Yes,
best bet of the week.
Thank you. My best bet of the week. I'm going to take the Bucks +4. I have.
You're switching on me.
I am switching on you.
I'll give you 3.5 because most of them is 3. So I'm being generous if you think you're getting 4.
Oh, I saw 4.
I see 3. Really?
Yeah. So
really, I've seen 3 flat. That's a 1.5.
I know it's a lot. I had 4.5 yesterday at MGM. I locked it in.
I'm giving you Bucks 3.5 though. I mean, fine. if it covers 2024, it's the only way you really get screwed.
I know. Which I think that's going to be just about how the game's going to go.
That's what's going to happen though.
Yeah,
but I'll give you the Bucks plus 3.5.
Thank you. I'm taking it.
Right.
I just can't.
Bailing on the over, huh? You were going Bills over, and then you realized that missed by a half point last week, and you want to do it again.
Yeah, I don't want to get my heart broken 2 weeks in a row.
Gotcha.
So, I'm going with the Bucks. Going against Tom Brady in the playoffs is never a good idea, as I've learned as a Jet fan. And the Bucks just looked great last week. They completely mishandled. They destroyed that Washington football team secondary that had a great passing defense all year. And the Saints obviously have a good defense too. But this is a divisional matchup also, so it's going to be a close game.
It is, and I actually like both of your picks this week. I do. I like them both. I like them both. But, yeah, we got a lot of good games. Obviously, we're going to have some good games. We'll see if the Browns can, keep this run going here. I don't think they will. I think it comes to an abrupt stop in Kansas City. Kansas City's not going to make the mistakes that Pittsburgh did and allow Cleveland to be in the game. But Cleveland is getting Stefanski back and their COVID guys that they lost. But I'd like KC in that game. Then you go to Packers-Rams. I mean, the one seeds both should win here.
Yeah.
Ravens, Bills, and the last game's escaping me. Oh, no, Bucks and Saints. And, Tom Brady losing to them twice already in the regular season.
Exactly.
Are the Saints going to beat the Bucks a third time? I don't know. We'll see. Definitely have some good games to look forward to this weekend. But yeah, that'll pretty much sum it up for us here. So we'll see. It'll be exciting. Championship Sunday is 9 days away. Championship Sunday. So that'll be very exciting.
Already.
And yeah. And before we go, Dev, I have a question for you. Ready?
Yeah.
See if you can be close to this number.
Oh, jeez. All right. Give it to me.
A Mickey Mantle card from 1952 sold for how much money? And I'll give you a hint. It broke a previous record for Mike Trout's rookie card of $3.94 million.
Oh, I was going to say $2 million, so I'm off there. I'm going to go with $6 million.
Mickey Mantle card sold for $5.2 million,
Wow.
breaking Mike Trout's rookie card record of $3.94.
But I don't understand. How did people get those? Like, even back in the like right now, how would I get a Mike Trout rookie card? How did that guy get that rookie card?
You got to go out and buy it. You got to find it in the Topps pack, man.
It's always confused me.
But yeah, just crazy. $5.2 million for a Mickey Mantle rookie card.
For a card.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Where are we going with that money, Lou?
With 5.2 mil, where are we going?
Yeah.
Aruba, Jamaica.
Come on, pretty mama.
There you go. All those places.
Mega Millions,
Bahamas.
$750 million tonight, by the way.
That'd be a lot. How much would you give me if you hit that?
I would give you $749 million.
Thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. Oh, man. All right. That'll do it for this episode of Keep It on the DL. We'll be back next week with your AFC NFC Championship preview. Take care, everybody.